I haven't done my vocal exercises yet though.
Well, there's always time.
Okay. Have
Like,
you ever done ferocial chewing?
I
Do you
don't
know
even.
what ferocial chew? I am
Is
a
that a word?
former
That doesn't
what?
sound like a word to
It
me.
is. I'm a former communication professor and major. And one of the things we used to teach our students before we go to competitions is you need to do your ferocial chewing. Would you like to see what it looks like?
How do you spell that?
Froschal.
I thought you were saying throtial,
Fer- Ferocial chewing.
ferocial chewing.
Would you like to see it?
I I don't
You
know.
ready? Here we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Meow, 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 meow.
And
Now I'm ready.
what
Let's
does that
do it.
actually what does it actually do for you?
It loosens my jaw and it makes me look stupid in that
Is
order.
it does it break the ice? Is that kind of a nice
Yeah,
break?
I mean if a bunch of people are standing in a circle and one guy's saying like, "Hey, did you notice it's cold today?" If you want to do something a little different, go meow, meow, meow. And if they look at you funny, go ferocial chewing.
And then they'll be like,
Oh, it's
all right.
cold. And I'm glad I got to see that.
So it's 141, Todd.
In the
Today.
morning,
One
1:41 a.m.
no, short attention gamer 141.
This is our 141 first episode.
It's so I mean I don't even remember when we switched back to the short attention gamer name, but it's 141 episodes in some sort of order.
You, you know what I think would be more interesting than the number of episodes is when we started doing episodes. Do you remember? I know I could go back and look,
So well,
but
hold on. Is it you and I started doing episodes,
well,
or
no. I
all the
mean,
way
yeah,
way back till
when you and I and Matt were doing stuff to keep the site alive.
Matt and Todd?
Yeah. And Jim, because Jim was doing all the stuff in the background, behind the scenes stuff to keep us from looking like idiots.
I still remember winning a prize one time from you guys, and I think actually I don't know if it was from you guys or just something that you put together, and it involved I think uh,
Oh,
Greg Miller. He
uh-huh.
I forget exactly what happened. It was like maybe like a trivia, like Xbox Live event or something like that.
Oh, it was, yeah, we gave away cameras.
It
Was that
wasn't a
it?
no, it wasn't a camera. He gave me like the option of something that I could win, and what I picked was a Nintendo Monopoly set of all things.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never told anybody this, and I'm going to tell you in the world right now, and all six of our listeners. Um, I have the first two. I found the first two episodes of um, that when Greg was on the show for the first time.
Oh,
So I have those episodes on YouTube, and I've never done anything with them because I figured it's Greg's shows. If he wants to do something with them, fine. I don't know. I think they're fun. I think they're interesting. Pardon me. Excuse me. Um,
I love it. I love it when your cat shows up. It's just because it's never expected. It's
I
always
know. I don't even expect it.
you're mid sentence, and all of a sudden there's a tail just going.
It's my mustache. So I have Greg's episodes, and they're fun to listen to. Greg was very polite, and it's funny because he is so opposite of what he is now. And it's not because he's shy; it's because he's being respectful that it's our show. So if it had been Greg's show, it would have been off the wall. But it's funny to listen to. So I think he was on maybe two or three, but I have the first two episodes, and I could share them sometime if somebody wanted to listen to them. It's one of those things
I'm sure
where
people
I
would be
find
interested.
if it's our audience that listens to it, if it's you and I, and it's all of our friends that listen in as well. It's just one of those things that I didn't want to like throw up on Reddit and say, "Hey, listen, it's Greg Miller's first two episodes on my show."
Back
You
in the
know?
day,
Yeah.
herp
So,
derp.
but I'd love for our friends to listen to it sometime because it's
Yeah,
kind of fun.
that's cool.
So maybe I'll send you those links and you can do something with them for just us, just our people.
Nobody listens to me anyway anymore.
Well, I mean,
Since we did the show when we were on the bigger website there, and I got a whole bunch of I mean, I got a whole bunch of Twitter followers out of that.
Yeah.
And then it turned into a lot of bots.
Ah.
And it just got like, at one point I just got fed up and I'm done. Everything. I deleted everything. And then some spammer took over my account. And it wasn't that I,
Excuse
cat
me.
again.
I know. Oh, hello. How are you? Sorry.
Kisses. Kitty
There.
kisses.
Sit there. Okay, we're good.
Good dog.
Yes, good dog cat.
But yeah, so I killed my account and then immediately like I actually deleted it. I didn't like put it into like a holding status or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody else signed up with my username, and now if you go to it, it's actually a suspended account because Twitter suspended my old account
because this person would just put out random stuff.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It wasn't as me, and it didn't have the followers as me. But I guess there's some value in terms of having someone that's linked to a whole bunch of places at some time.
Stinks.
But now I've got like 50 people following me,
hey.
and I think they're real people. So,
yeah. See, my problem with Twitter has always been that I started off wrong. I started off really early, so I got Todd Fuller as my Twitter handle. I wish I hadn't. There are other Todd Fullers out there that are in politics, and everybody assumes that I'm that Todd Fuller. I wish I had had something like yours. I mean, that was a name, but it didn't have to be my direct name. So my problem is, and the reason why I don't tweet an awful lot is because I feel like I'm caught between two worlds. I have all the people that are my friends that follow you and I, that follow me when I play games and are interested in what I say, and I'm interested in what they say about games. But then I have all the people that follow me because of education and because I work for a teaching association. And
yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I did not do a good job of splitting down the middle for those my two worlds. And so, and it's hard to, own all of it. I try to, but it's a challenge. So that's why you don't see me tweet an awful lot. And if you do see me tweet, I'm usually responding to something you've said or JJ said or Mike has said.
Or hey, Last Life has just joined the chat.
Yeah, and so
or that guy. Hey, what's up?
One of you guys have said that's usually the only time I respond with tweets. So, and that's why. And I wish that I had split that up and had a Twitter account where it was my job, and then a Twitter account where it was my passion, the things I enjoy doing, and I didn't do that. So
well, you could still do that. You could still create an alternate reality game theory.
Yeah, and then I have all of the game theory people that follow that other guy that has the actual game theory podcast that call me a phony because they say,
they got your number, to be honest with you.
Phony, you're right. Even though I had that name before this guy had a podcast, before YouTube was a thing. I had this name before YouTube existed. So
we, I mean, when we relaunched the podcast and the site, when we were Splitkick, we came up with a new name for a podcast because we didn't want to use the old one. Mm-hmm. and it hadn't dawned on us at the time that, hey, it might be cool to have the Short Attention Gamer name. Mm-hmm. So instead we picked Rocket Jump, which just so happened to not be used by any podcast. It wasn't really used by anyone for that.
It blows my mind that that's the case.
At that time, it was nuts. Just like Splitkick itself. Yeah. The domain name was available. It's not anymore because, of course, we were like, let it lapse, whatever. But so we got that. We started podcasting at that. And almost immediately, we got hate. Because somebody thought we were purposely going after what's his name, the guys who actually own Rocket Jump right now. He's a huge name. I forget. God, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I didn't even know that. I never knew that.
Yeah, if you go look up Rocket Jump right now, you'll see it's an actual like video production studio of
of some
big YouTubers. So it was like. at one point we were exchanging some emails back and forth. They were really cool about it. It wasn't a big deal, but the fans were like, why are you squatting on their name? They just said that they were going to use this, and here you are. I'm like, no, that's not.
Yeah.
So eventually we just came up. It came up with the fact that, hey, you know what? Just in case there turns into a thing, we're just going to change the name. And then we came up with this name again and said, hey, you know what? It would be cool. And Matt gave us blessing, and you said it's cool. So here we are.
And it's always been our name. It's always been the name that I've used, that Matt used, that you used too. I mean, when you were helping us keep the site alive. So, I mean, it's our name. Other people can try to use it. And we were using that name before we knew what podcasts were, because the Podfather had named them podcasts, Adam Curry himself. But we were doing the podcast before there was podcasts on, before there were really iTunes. So there was nowhere to host them or put them when we first started doing the show, other than, I can't remember, there was a website, and it was something feeder. Do you remember that? And
it feels like so many. It feels like so many years ago. Like
it was just a website that listed podcasts, and that's all it did. But there weren't apps for podcasts. There weren't places for podcasts on iTunes yet. Actually, iTunes existed, but podcasts didn't exist on iTunes. And so this was right around the time that Xbox Live came out for the first time. That's when we were doing the show. That's why it was so easy to get the name Game Theory, because nobody had it yet. Xbox was you were probably in beta at that point, right? Yeah,
I had the way back then.
So yeah, back in those days, it was really easy to. It was not easy to make a podcast, and it was not easy to find a place to host it, to put it so people could see it. But in terms of coming up with names, it was no big deal, because we were the only game in town. There were not very many video game podcasts at that time.
Yeah, so Last Life actually just asked who came up with the Stickman Rocket Jump logo, and I don't even remember, to be honest. It was like the entire birth of that site was a giant collaboration between like five or six,
several people, and I wasn't one of the people that helped start it, but I was in the fringes with helping with the podcast and writing reviews, and I was just excited that you guys gave me codes for games to write reviews for. So I thought that was kind of exciting.
We pay you in exposure, sir.
Exactly. You paid me in a video game, and that was enough.
And I mean, now if you look at it, like if somebody comes to you and says like, oh, we're going to give you exposure, we're going to get your name out there. Now it's like a big thing. Like there's a lot of people that are saying like, no, you should never work for that. You should never work for free. This is your time. You should get paid for it.
But how do you get paid? I mean, seriously, your choices are you can try to have ads or mention products. You're not going to make a lot of money off of that. Unless you create a conglomeration of podcasts, kind of what you and I are a part of now.
Yeah. TrinityFirstNetwork.com.
And we're making we make like $100,000 each a year off of this show.
Yes, a year. That's right. I thought you were going to say a month, but yes, a year.
Yeah.
It's the point where we only have to put out these shows, once every month and a half or so.
We put it out more than we get more money, more problems.
That's true.
Right?
That's
more
true.
money, more problems is what I've always heard.
Speaking about the delay between the releases, just real quick. Man, October was hard.
Hey, you can tell me. So I was ready every time you were ready. Let's just put that out there.
I kept on saying to Todd, I said, Todd, let's do a show. And then the day of the show would come and I'd be like, hey Todd, I can't do the show. How about in 2 days? You're like, yes, we'll do the show in 2 days. And then the next day comes, Todd, I'm sorry.
You said it.
Todd, I'm sorry, I can't do it again. And finally, here we are. And let me tell you, being a dad, it's great, but I think we mentioned last time that you and I have kind of shifted positions. So your kids are now moving on with their lives, and I'm in the zone where there's a lot of just moving around, where there's a lot of car driving, a lot of just waiting at places. So this evening, I actually, right before the show, I went and picked up my daughter from a school event. That was just a thing, but for the entire month of August, or August,
September.
no, I'm sorry, more towards September and October. Everyone had some activities. On Tuesday, we had tennis. The three kids are far enough apart in ages where they don't actually share tennis sessions. So it was one at 5:30, one at 6:30, and one at 7:30. So there's this back and forth of cars. My wife and I wave at each other as we drive by.
Yes.
And so that's Tuesday, and then Tuesday again, after a little while, started religious education stuff. So not only right after school, they go to religious education, but from there, they basically eat in the car and then go to tennis. So and then they throw in, cheerleading. So my middle daughter's a cheerleader. So now there's multiple practices a week for cheerleading, which she loves. And she did great this past weekend. They had their competition in first place, number one, first place. But like now all of that's over, all that's paused. And we can get to just relaxing a little bit more than
until things start up for the next session. Like, so you're saying that once a quarter we can do a podcast.
I want to do it more. Like before the insanity started, it was, hey Todd, let's put a calendar event every 2 weeks. We'll do it every other week. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. And it has slipped every single time we've tried it. So, but the good thing about it is that now games are totally out.
Oh my gosh. I'm a little overwhelmed.
I'm not overwhelmed because I've been sticking with specific things.
Very smart.
I haven't even tried Black Ops 4. I could try it on PC. No problem.
Yeah.
You have or not?
Oh, I haven't. I don't even have it because I'm overwhelmed with so many. I know.
What?
Yes, because of so many other. I know
the Black Ops and the Call of Duties.
I don't even have it yet, and I've bought every single one. But that's because I'm doing something that I used to not do when I was in my early 40s, late 30s. I would get a game, and then when a new game came out, I'd jump right into that game, and I would never finish the other one. And I thought I'm missing out on certain games. I did that with Grand Theft Auto 5. I didn't finish Grand Theft Auto 5 because we got that in like October, remember?
Yep.
And then something else came out later, and it was probably either Call of Duty or Black Ops. And I jumped right into that, and I never got back to it. So I'm trying to play a game and play it through to the end before I start something else.
Which is kind of different for you.
Well, it is. And the other reason I'm doing that is because when I did the show with you all, and then before when Matt and I were doing the show, I felt an obligation to play as much as I could so I could talk about something different every week. And it was fun for people listening, and it was okay for me, but I was doing a disservice to myself because I was never actually finishing games. I was just playing a lot of games for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, and then bouncing off, you spending all their money or whatever. And
yeah. And so, I'm still spending the money. Don't get me wrong. I'm still buying the games. I'm just not. I'm waiting until I finish one before I jump into the next.
All right.
So that's where we are.
So before we get into the game that I'm sure everyone is literally talking about currently, I finished. I decided that I was going to spend some time and finish up Spider-Man before.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Finish up Spider-Man prior to the behemoth that came out last week. Yeah. So not only did I finish the campaign, but which I really liked the story.
Oh, I did too.
Of Spider-Man. I loved the ending, and it really hit home that while Spider-Man's got cool powers and he's got all these quips and everything, it's tough to be Spider-Man.
It is, yeah.
Like it's real hard to be Spider-Man, and I love the stuff with Miles Morales. I thought that was great. with the exception with the exception of the little stealth missions that they kept on throwing in for him and MJ.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, the sneaking around as MJ, but you know, I was okay with. I mean, it seemed like a little padding,
I
but
I think I get why I did. I think they were trying to ensure that it wasn't the same experience start to finish, because literally when you start that game, you can go, like,
yeah,
everything is there, the world is open, you can just go. And I think they tried to throw that in there to break up the story in some way, that, hey, you're going to have some quiet time now. But to be honest, I'd rather have the quiet time where, like, Peter's walking through Feast and
yeah,
talking to all the people around and talking to his aunt. I think those sections worked a lot better than the stealthing pieces of what MJ and Miles had to do. But so I went in, I finished the story, did the thing to the happy-ish conclusion.
hmm
And then I said, you know what? I've got some time left. I'm gonna just go in and see what I can bang out and see how many trophies I can get. And I ended up, the day that their first DLC came out, the Black Cat stuff, I ended up getting 100%
wow,
on the game, which is, I understand. I understand it's pretty easy to do, and it seemed pretty easy to do, but I stuck with it to the point where I'm just gonna fly around and beat up these guys, and all of a sudden I've got 100%. So
wow. I loved it, and I'm probably at 70%, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Maybe less. But I finished it, and I really wanted to play. So I finished the game about the same time that Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out, but I didn't want to jump into that game because I knew it was like a 60-hour game, and I knew what was coming next. And so I was able to jump into Tomb Raider and play Tomb Raider on my Xbox.
we talked about this. I keep forgetting that game came out.
No. And it's funny because as polished as Spider-Man is, and the transitions from gameplay to cutscenes, just so smooth. There are some quirky jumps and awkward transitions for cutscenes to gameplay in Tomb Raider, and there shouldn't be, because it is a great looking game. The cutscenes are good, the story is good, but they're just some weird, like almost like they rushed the game to get it done in September. But having said that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. I enjoyed playing it. I did.
I
finished it.
Played it through?
Yeah, I finished it.
Right.
I finished it. Let's see. Red Dead came out on Friday, and I finished Tomb Raider on Tuesday. So I was able to do a few other things in the game before Red Dead came out, and in between there, I was playing another game that I'll talk about if you want me to. But before, hold on, I'll be right back.
What is he doing? He just dropped his camera and ran. What is going on? Harry, he's back.
All right, sorry, I forgot something that allows me to talk about the other game I wanted to talk about.
Is this another unboxing video that you
already unboxed? It's unboxed video.
Already unboxed video.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it have to do with the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, what the hell is this?
Oh,
yeah, exactly. That's what it has to do with. It's Starlink.
I'm sorry, what is that?
Okay, so Starlink is a game that came out on Xbox, and it's actually a pretty good game, but it came out on Xbox, PlayStation 4, and Switch. And so the way it's a toys to life game as well, but you really don't need the toys to play it. I just happened to have a couple of them and then thought, why did I do this? I'm an old man. So, but you know, too late. Here I am. But what's interesting about it is you could take this is the ship, and these are the weapons. Depending on how you put the weapons on this particular ship, that's how they shoot. So I could take this weapon and flip it around, and it would shoot a different way on the ship, which is kind of a cool thing. Same with this side. There is
so there's some sort of weird connector that informs everything about how the configuration is.
Yes, but and there's actually I don't know. I don't remember how to open it. There's a guy inside of here.
Can you put Todd inside of there?
This looks like what I'm about to break it, like I did with the box for the PlayStation 4 controller. Anyway, somehow there's a guy in here. I can't get it out. The weird part about this, though, I don't know if you can see, but there is an indentation here and an indentation here for a Switch controllers.
Yeah.
You could play the game like this.
Why would you play the game like that?
No, but you could. But to get this controller to work the first time, you have to put the Switch controllers, the left and right, in here. So what I did was I put them in, and I looked at this like you are looking at it right now, and I said, I am not going to play the game like this. And so I set it down and thought, forget it. I'm just going to have to play with the ship that came with the game. And what I realized is you can use a regular Switch controller, a Pro controller if you want, and just have this thing sitting next to you. And
you can you switch the stuff if it's next to you and it'll still work in the game, or
you can, except for it's easier if you turn this completely off, because you've already unlocked all this crap inside of the game. And so you've unlocked all this stuff inside the game. So turn this off and just play the game with all the stuff unlocked and the ships unlocked. And on top of that, you can buy this ship with its stuff for $4.99 in the game.
$4.99.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to spend the $20 that costs for one of these. But it's a sweet ass ship. Don't get me wrong. What am I going to do with this? If I were my 5th or 6th grade self would think this was incredible. My 50-year-old self is like, yeah, okay. What have I done? But
you got another toy that you can put on a shelf.
Yeah, exactly. And so the game itself is actually kind of fun. There is battles that take place on different planets. There's battles that take place in space. There are some collection missions that are a part of that. You have different ships that you can choose from, different pilots that you can choose from, different weapons that do different things based on how you're fighting. The weird thing about fighting on the planets, unlike No Man's Sky, is the ship is always level with the ground. So you're always right at ground level. You almost could have been a tank.
So is it like third person behind?
Yes. Behind the ship. Yeah. But the missions are fun. The game itself is interesting. For a Switch game, it's great. So I don't think I would enjoy this game as much on a PS4 or an Xbox. But the only downside to the game when you're playing handheld is that the text is very small. But on your television, it's great. So, I don't know if I can recommend it as a $60 game, but if that price drops at all over the holidays, I would pick up Starlink. I think people would enjoy the game.
And how many toys are there? Because hold on, let me do a little show and tell myself.
All right. Oh my gosh, there's toys down there.
There's toys right behind me because my children like to just leave them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like stains already on this carpet from paint that was dripped and left there.
Nice. Kids are fun.
Yeah, thanks, kids. I appreciate that. I gotta go get a steamer out or something. But yeah, like.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go,
dude. Or my little. She's awesome. She's one of my favorite characters.
And that's how in the game she just pops out and she's like, bang.
Yes, they're different. I think there are like 6 different pilots, and she's one of the pilots. There are maybe 6 different ships. Star Fox is one of the ships and one of the pilots. And actually with Switch, that's the ship that you get as the if you buy the more deluxe version, you get the Star Fox ship and the Star Fox pilot.
Of course.
But what's interesting is there are missions in the Switch version that are based around Star Fox. So now I think they could probably you can tell that they could delete those missions and the game is still all right there. So they just added them in for the Switch version, but that's the version to buy, not the other two.
No.
So, but anyway, I've had fun with it. It is an interesting game. If there weren't so many other things coming out, I would probably be playing this more often just because I like the mechanics of flying in this game better than a lot of other space simulations or space games.
Cool.
It's
I didn't even know. I honestly hadn't even heard about it, so I'm glad you said you brought it
yeah,
up.
I
And you
enjoy it.
talked about it.
Your son would enjoy this game.
I
Ah,
already,
find it on sale. He'll enjoy it.
I'm sure. I'm sure he will. I'm sure. Like, but right now it's Disney Infinity all the time. Still Disney Infinity,
This is like the next version of Disney Infinity.
but without the characters that he recognizes.
She's pretty awesome. He'd recognize her after a while. She has a sweet gray hair thing going on.
And a sword thing, looks like.
Well, she's got a sword on the back, yeah, but her
What does
hand.
she need? What does she need a sword? Does she get out in the game to fight
Well,
with the
see,
sword?
that's the frustrating thing. The pilots never. I mean, they talk a lot, and there's animations with the pilots, but they never get out of the ship. It's all just ship action.
That's
No
all right. That's
action.
all right. But you don't need a sword if you're in a ship. That's all.
You're right, and yeah, you're right.
It's a trash game, Todd.
I'm
That's
gonna
what I'm
rip
trying
off-
to get to.
I'm gonna rip that sword off right now. I'll show her. So anyway, I've been playing that. I play it sometimes when I'm on the road or on the go. Since the last time we talked, I was on the road. I almost got trapped in a hurricane.
Yeah, I saw some
Yeah.
pictures.
So spooky. So I've been playing this and doing other things like that. But at home, I've been playing the same game you have.
The Division?
Yeah, The Division. I've been playing a lot of The Division to get ready for The Division 2.
Well, along with Spider-Man, actually, I'm not joking around. We finished up The Division.
You guys did?
We beat the game, which basically looks like it opened up the real game, because you hit the 30th level, you finish the last mission in the game, and all of a sudden there's all this extra stuff that opens up that you can go and do. So yeah, several of us actually hit 30 before the last mission, and at some point between when launch and now, Ubisoft actually released some sort of update that you go to this vendor and you get some special gear, and it's all level 30 gear, so stuff that you really want end game, right? So we couldn't put it on until you hit level 30, so everybody stored it in their stash. So level 30 hits, we go over and pick it up, and the increase in both damage and damage resistance just by not even thinking about what you're equipping was insane, to the point where we set the difficulty level of the last couple story missions to hard, and just walked through. We didn't need to really take cover at all. There's tons of bullet sponges in this game, but even on the the hard difficulty level, we just lit them up. Like everybody just melted in front of us. It was kind of crazy, and it was almost like turning on God mode, and back in the Doom days when you enter your console commands and all of a sudden you're God. But I'm glad we finished it. It was a lot of fun to play with 3 other guys, every week or so. And we were going to move on to Wildlands for a month at least until a certain online mode hits.
Yeah.
Whenever that may be. I think it's supposed to be in a month or so. But all of us, I haven't known my friend Art to purchase a game at launch in the recent past. But he sure as heck picked up Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
As did I. I went to I had it ordered on Amazon. I canceled the physical order on Amazon, and I decided to just download and get the digital version. Because I wanted to play it that day. I wanted to play it the Friday.
It didn't go on sale at midnight. It went on sale like 9 o'clock at night, I think, or at least around here it did.
No, it was midnight. Midnight on Friday is when it unlocked, I think, for us.
What's fun for the rest of America is we like to use your midnight as ours, and so your midnight is 11 o'clock for us, and sometimes earlier. So, thank you for being East Coast.
I was sleeping when it unlocked. Okay. But I was able to play quite a bit of it over the past weekend and the subsequent week because, so What do you think?
I
Uh-oh.
I like the game all right,
Uh,
and the let I'll be I mean I'll
Uh-oh.
it is a slow paced game,
Yes,
and
it is.
and I have to wrap my head around that and be fine with it, and because there are times I'm so used to being able to get where I want to get quickly, whether it be in a game like Grand Theft Auto or a game like Watch Dogs 2, um, or really any modern game. I can bop around, even Assassin's Creed games. I can get around pretty quickly, and this game is plotting, and it's plotting for a reason, and I get that. And I get that they want you to slow down the pace, um, but there are times where I want to pick up the pace a little bit. Um, and the controls, it's one of those games, and there are other games like this. I think Batman, the Batman games, and even Spider-Man to a certain degree, it's the kind of game that if you got away from it for a week and played something else, it would be like starting over when you came back to it, because the controls are so specific in terms of doing
They
particular mechanics.
Yeah, I agree that the controls specifically are a little tough to get used to. I struggled with them here and there, and I still have some minor issues.
There has been more than one time where I've pulled the right trigger to do what is traditionally in every other game, um, a it makes your animal or vehicle move forward, and I've shot something that I shouldn't have shot and messed up the direction of my game, or changed the course of that particular game because I shot my gun when I meant to try to move forward.
Yeah, I mean there is. I think what's so endearing to me about the controls being just a little tough to manage
Mm-hmm.
is that it creates some nice stories that you can have with your friends. You can joke around, you can laugh about specific scenarios that take place,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, I have a few.
And
My
the just the general overall systems of the game stitch quite well together,
mhm.
that they also lend themselves to just overlapping silliness, right? In a game that is definitely not a silly game. Like the story is 100%
Great.
like the story's great.
Hmm.
It's very serious. The voice acting, holy smokes.
Yeah,
It
it's good.
it's some of the I think some of the best I've ever heard for any game ever. It's fantastic. I love all the motion capture. The horses look great, like everything, the movement, and they do the Rockstar thing where they prioritize how the game moves and how it looks. I think more than the responsiveness necessarily of your button presses, and
Yeah.
that's okay. You just have to. It's a similar mentality in terms of like a Dark Souls, where you just have to know, right? You have to know that it's going to take this amount of time to actually do that thing.
Hmm.
Where you can't expect it to be, well, in some cases, right? Where you you hip fire your revolver at somebody by accident,
Yeah. And I've
then
done it once.
yeah, and then like everybody in town hates you. So
I've been wanted more than one time so far, and I don't think I'm that far into it.
yeah, I'm let's see. I'm on chapter 2. I'm still in the same like first area. And I'm just kind of like going around and doing the little side things here and
Yeah.
there. Like I'm advancing the story when I can advance the story, but there's also things like bounties that you can pick up. And so let me take a step back and tell you one of these stories, okay?
All right.
So
And then I'll tell you one of mine.
this is I think this is what Red Dead can bring to the community right now,
Hmm.
is stories. So I have because I had pre-ordered the game, I got the thoroughbred horse, right?
Hmm.
And in the game, you there's an attachment that you grow to your horse. Like you pet it, you feed it, you talk to it, and you get attached to it. I named my horse Walter. Okay, I'm not sure why Walter. It seemed like a good name for a horse, but so I've had this horse pretty much since I found a stable, and they gave it to me in the game. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I was in main camp. I rode into the city, and I'm like, oh well, there's a bounty available. I'm gonna go get the bounty. So I go pick up the thing, and then I ride all the way to the bounty, which is quite a ways away. It's not like right around the block.
Yeah.
So we ride out there, get there. I do the thing. I'm not going to tell you much about the bounty because I'm sure it's spoilerish in some way. Mm. And then I bring the bounty back. It was a wanted alive bounty. So I bring it back to the sheriff's station. I drop the person off in the jail cell, and I get my $25. Okay. At that time, I'm like, all right, now what do I do? I don't want to go hunting because it's not nighttime. It's almost nighttime. The sun's going down. So the saloon is right around the corner. So I'm like, let's go check out what's in the saloon. Because last time I was there, everything was fine. Not really, but that there's a poker game going on. So I sat down at the poker table, and I play a few hands, and I get like a pair of queens as my hand, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going. I'll just keep betting. Everyone's raising at the table. Like there's 5 or 6 computer characters there. And then finally I'm just like, whatever. I just push all my chips in. One guy's like, I'm going to call you. And then I win, right? I get like $6 in poker in Red Dead, which is fairly big win because buy-in for a lot of those games, as far as I know right now, is $2.50, like $2.50. So I got a ton of money. Played a few more hands because I didn't want to just walk away from the table immediately. I didn't know how the game would react to that. But then I decided, all right, I'm going to go back and then go to camp, and then I'll take a nap until it's morning. So I hit the button to get away from the table. And then I look down because I this somewhat slow motion of how the game transitions between certain things. Mm-hmm. I look away from the TV for a second because I had a message on my phone or something like that. And I look up, and all of a sudden, my guy's got another guy in a chokehold. And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And this thing comes up in the top right-hand corner. It tells me people are getting upset at me. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? So I try to get away from it. I hit a button, he lets go, and then it changes to murder as something that I performed. I'm like, oh my God, I did not mean to do this. Yeah. So now like everyone's angry in the saloon. I hightail it out of the bar. Guns are going off, flying past me. Bullets are flying. I'm sitting there like whistling from Horsey, Walter, come on. So finally the horse catches up to me as I'm booking it out of town. I jump on the horse. I'm riding out. I get just outside of the city. People are still chasing me by this time. I get just outside the city, and then a notice pops up in the upper left-hand corner that says, hey, just to let you know, if you ride your horse too hard and it doesn't have any stamina. And that's all I got to, because all of a sudden my horse collapses on the ground. And I'm like,
were you still in the red zone?
Oh, I was in the red zone. So I fall over. My guy gets up. I'm looking around. I'm getting surrounded by a set of, I don't know if they're lawmen or just people that are upset at the saloon that have come to chase after me. I can't do anything for Walter because everyone's shooting at me. And then I die, and the game informs me after I am resurrected that that I've left my saddle behind, and I should go get it.
So then you had to go back to camp to get Walter, right? Or you had to go to
I think Walter's dead, man. I don't think I can get Walter again.
Can't revive Walter?
I don't know. If you want me to continue, because this story didn't actually end there. All right. So it tells me that I can either go get the saddle, which I'm not sure really at this point if that's like a corpse run for any other video game. So, but it also says that I can go to the stable. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see if I can ride, because I had a backup horse, right? The one at the beginning of the game is different from Walter. So I whistle, and sure enough, that horse walks up, but he doesn't have a saddle on him, so I can't ride him. And so I go over. I start walking towards the stable, which is at the other end of the main strip in the main town. And then there's this woman, and she's like, Mister. I walk up and said, what can I do for you, ma'am? She's like, I need your help. Please come help me. And it's clearly a lady of the evening. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh god, she's gonna rob me. That's the only thing I can say. But I'm like, all right, I'll go along with it. So I follow her up the stairs, go in the back, and no, she doesn't want to rob me. She has a dead body
What?
on her bed. She said the guy got handsy with her basically, and she stabbed him. So I'm like, okay, I get it.
Hmm.
I get it. And she wants me to take care of the body. All right. So where am I supposed to put the body? Oh, she's like, oh, the pigs. You can put it in the pig
Right.
pen over there. So I'm like, all right. I pick up the body, put him over my shoulder. I start walking down the stairs, and my stupid horse that I whistled for earlier is just hanging outside, just still trying to follow me because I never told him to stop following me, right? So I get down. He moves out of the way. I start walking across this somewhat small but open field to
Hmm.
try to get to the pig pen, and I don't see anybody. I think things are good. I get to the pig pen. I don't see a gate to go in, so I just throw the body over the fence. As soon as that body hits the ground, Todd, what happens?
There's
Hey, what are you doing over
yeah,
there?
that's
And
yes.
and now it's back to Jim running out of town
Yes.
with no horse because I can't ride the horse without the saddle. And at that point, I was like, all right, it's 10 o'clock. Old man is going to bed.
Yeah.
So,
And I've had experiences like that too, that I wonder, what am I supposed to, how do I get away with this? And sometimes I have been able to get away with murder, so to speak, and it just depends on the situation. But my story is last Sunday. Um, I was doing the mission, and I'm not giving anything away. It's the mission where one of the first times that you have to go after one of the big animals. I forgot what they call those. The
oh, legendaries.
legendary animal. It's the very first one. One of the first missions you have for a legendary animal is a grizzly bear. And so I was fighting the grizzly bear, and I actually killed it. And and I've learned a couple things. First of all, I learned don't skin the grizzly bear right there, because if you skin the grizzly bear, you have the meat and you have the fur, but after a while, the meat can go bad. So leave the grizzly bear intact until you decide what you want to do with it. Wish I had done that. It really wouldn't have mattered though, because I skinned it and I put the pelt on the back of my horse.
Yeah.
And then I was riding along and Cameron came home. So Cameron's at school. He's not far away. He's, 20 minutes away, but still he came home for dinner on Sunday night. And I was like, oh, that's great. So I go upstairs and I was going to make steaks for everyone. And I paused the game right there. And I did not save the game manually like I should have, because I thought I'll be back down later tonight. So Cameron says, have you been playing Red Dead? And I said, yeah. He goes, can I see it? I say, yeah, go on down. So Cameron goes down, and not 15 minutes later, he comes upstairs and he goes, I said, are you done? He goes, yeah. He said, I got attacked by a bobcat. And I said, well, there was a legendary bear pelt on the back of that horse. He goes, yeah, that's not there anymore. It wasn't. The horse was alive, but the bear pelts are gone. I have no idea where it went. I lost it. I was able to sell the meat, but the pelt is no more.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get mad at my son though, because it was my choice to let him go downstairs, and I was just happy he was home. If he lived here, I would have grounded him.
So first question. I didn't know that there's a manual save. I've just been treating this game basically as a roguelike, basically,
There's a manual save, and I didn't know it either. And that's one of my other issues is getting into the menus. It's a little archaic. And I just wish it would have been a little more intuitive in terms of how you get into the menus and where you go. And that's one thing I liked about Spider-Man. I thought the menus were very clear. It was very understandable where to go, what to do. And I appreciated that. But there's an area, and I can't remember where it is I think it's under story. I think you actually click story, and then there's an option for saving the game and loading the game. And there are just as many save slots as there are for any other game. I think they're like 8 or 10.
So I'm trying to think of if this will make the game a better or worse experience if I have a way to load, because I've been playing it in a fairly careful way because I know things can go sideways so
Yeah.
quickly.
I I rarely go there to save. I think I've only done it a couple times, and the only reason I've done it is because I knew I was going to have to stop the game, and I wasn't sure when I was going to have to get back into it. And see, this is coming after. So on an Xbox, one of the things I've always liked about an Xbox, and PlayStation does it for the most part too, when you pause the game and you turn it off and you put it into that sleep state, and it may be 24 hours before you get back, but when you get back into the game and you start it again, you start up right where you left off, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Xbox is that way, PS4 is that way. When I played, and this is a warning to anyone who plays Tomb Raider, when I played Tomb Raider, every time I put it into that sleep state, it must have been trying to ping a server when it came back, and it automatically went back to the point where I had to reload the game. Now, so you could never automatically go back into Tomb Raider and start playing again. I thought it was so bad and so frustrating. I thought that I had turned off an option on my Xbox to allow me to do that.
Hmm.
But that's just the way that game works. So every single time I go back into Tomb Raider, I have to I have to reload the game from where I last stopped. Luckily, that game saves like all the time. It's like it's constantly saving. But it's still frustrating because it takes some time to reload. And that's the first game I've ever had do that. So I haven't had that issue with Red Dead though. I mean, I've been able to jump right back into my save, so I haven't had to manually save that many times.
I I think one thing they've definitely improved is load times in Red Dead.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Over like Grand Theft Auto 4,
Oh
5,
yeah.
for example.
Absolutely.
So GTA 5 was so
But
slow to
remember,
load.
that was an issue. I mean, it was like sometimes 45 seconds to a minute to longer
Yeah.
to load a game.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I never really wanted to play online for that, is because of how long it just took to get into it. I know a lot of people love online for GTA.
Gosh, it's been going for years now.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to Red Dead Online, and I think depending on what I haven't really read much about it, but I
Mhm.
can really see some fun stuff happening.
Oh yeah. Well,
Uh,
I thought I mean, I thought Red Dead Redemption Online the first time around was fun. There were some really interesting ideas in there in terms of being with your posse or going into a game and seeing a group of players in a town, and you're like, I'm not going into that town because I'm by myself. Um,
I kind of hope that they do something more along the lines of where you can jump in with a group of friends and play like co-op style missions with them,
yes, yes,
instead of playing against other
yes,
players.
absolutely.
Because I personally find that more interesting. I don't like griefing.
Well, that's why you guys like playing the Division so much. I mean, you got to
Yeah,
play with your friends.
yeah, it's great. So I kind of hope that there's some sort of separation where you don't have to, you can join like a private lobby or private world or something and just mess around and do missions together with. I hope they do something like that.
Yeah,
But
I do too.
but jumping back to your legendary pelt story,
Hmm.
um, so I didn't know where the trapper was. So
Oh,
I did the
yeah.
same thing. I
I
got the
still
bear
don't.
pelt. I got the bear pelt on my horse, put him on, and I was riding around forever with the bear pelt. I didn't know what to do with it. So instead of um instead of just putting it down somewhere, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get another horse, and this is where Walter first entered my life. So I took the pelt and put it on my backup horse, and then I took the saddle and put it back on Walter. So Walter was clear; he didn't have anybody on his back, so I could go and put people on there instead if I needed to. Um, and the backup horse had the pelt on it. Well, the very first time I died, it told me that I lost the pelt. So there was some sort of connection, like save state,
Hmm.
because I hadn't died yet. And it basically told me that I abandoned the pelt. So I'm not sure.
So you lost your pelt too.
I did.
All
I
right, I don't
did.
feel so bad then. I won't get mad at Cameron. I haven't spoken to him for a week, so now I feel like I could go ahead and talk to him. Thank you.
Talk to your son.
Yeah, you saved our relationship, Jim.
That's kind of what I'm here for.
I know. Relationship saver. Thank you.
But I really, really like Red Dead 2. I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't as enamored with it as I am. And there's all the reviews out there are like pretty much glowing, and and there's plenty of people that say no, this is no good. But
well, and I don't agree with that. I think it's a very good game. I think the story is incredible. It's the immersiveness of the game is incredible. I want to keep playing, and I will. I just wish at times it's plotting, and I'm so used to games that the pace and the momentum is there and it keeps going, and this game isn't like that. I mean, you have to go into the game with a different mindset than mainly modern open world games, because it's not a modern open world game.
So, I mean, there are like quality of life things that you do find out about in the game to make it a little bit less fiddly, I guess.
Yeah.
So like if you I don't know if you know this, but if you can set a waypoint on the map to a specific location, and as long as you have that and you're following a road and you enable the cinematic camera,
and I did figure that out, and that made life much easier for me.
You can let go of the controller, and for the most part things are okay, unless of course systems jump into play, which they can do. So
I've had that happen too.
Like for example, I decided to start up the cinematic camera, and I think it happened right about the same time that the game decided to start up a robbery system.
Mm-hmm.
So I started up the camera, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting the nice cinematic of my horse and me riding by, and then I see like 4 guys just descend on me. So I'm like, oh my God. So I pick up the controller. I have to fight them off. But
another quality of life. Well, okay, 2 things. First of all, if you want to get to the map fast without going through the menus, hold down the select button.
Last Life actually just mentioned that. He said he found it out by chapter 3.
Oh,
so
gosh. and yes, that changed my gameplay and made my life much easier. But the other thing that helps is download. If you have your iPhone, well, it doesn't have to be an iPhone, it can be an Android phone, but a phone or better yet, a tablet, download the app, and you can, the app syncs to the game, and you can set the app right next to you on like a tablet, and you can see where you're riding on the map while you're doing it.
So I actually haven't played around with that, but it works well. It's good.
Yes, it works very well. There are other things you can do with the app, but to me, that is the best part about it, is that you can see on the app where you're supposed to go. Because what happens to me, especially if I have long distances to go, I find myself wanting to stop and say, okay, now how close am I? Seems like I've been riding forever. But with the app, you can look over at the side, and it is showing you in real time as you're riding where you are on the map.
Cool.
It's crazy, and it's awesome. Cool. So yeah, I mean, that's a game changer for me, is using the app to play the game makes a huge difference. Hello. Cat came by.
Last Life just brought up a good point. He said Red Dead feels alive for him. And
okay, yeah, I see that.
I completely agree. Like going into those cities, all those characters that walk around you. Yeah, there is only some limited interaction but you can interact with everybody that's there.
Yeah.
It's not just a passive experience. You can actually go up, and if you want to, you can start robbing people.
Yeah.
Or you can antagonize them. It's a simple button press.
Choices your parents told you never to make. And animals. I mean, even when you're out in the wilderness, I mean, it's alive. I mean, there are animals everywhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A game like Horizon, which I love that game. It's probably one of my all-time favorite games. Has lots of different animals running around, but nothing like Red Dead. I mean, that is just it makes you wonder, okay, I don't see animals like that today. I wonder if it was much more like that in the early 1900s, late 1800s. And it probably was. I mean, you know, the number of buffalo, for instance, that were um, in our country that we don't have now. And just the amount of animals running around, and it's just amazing.
And the fact that if you want to go hunting for a small game, you need to take the proper munitions
Oh
to
yeah,
deal with it, or else you're not going to be able to have a good meal out of that bunny. You
yeah.
gotta shoot him with an arrow or shoot him with a varmint.
I
Uh,
spent 30 minutes going after, I can't remember what kind of deer. It was right on the coast of a big lake. And it was a specific kind of deer because um, I had to observe the deer for a little bit to figure out what to do. And I really felt like I was tracking that deer because it took me a while before I finally got a clean shot to the head so that I could skin it so that I could sell the pelt and eat the meat. Um, but that I felt like I'd actually achieved something when I was finished.
yeah, and the skinning animations are pretty gnarly.
Oh yeah, it's much different than skinning in a Far Cry game, which is graphic enough, but this is more like this is really what it's like. Far Cry is what it's like if you were able to do it in 30 seconds, like a superhuman.
Like the skinning of bunnies, for example, is
Oh yeah, just rip it
just
apart.
just grabs it and he goes, "Woof." And
Yeah,
from what I understand, that's kind of how, like, I don't hunt, but
yeah,
I guess that's kind of how it works.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's what I understand too. And then watching how he skinned the bear. I mean, it was involved, but that is part of this game. I mean, it's visceral. They're trying to show you what it was like to be alive and trying to exist at that time. It wasn't pretty all the time.
no, no, it was not pretty.
No,
But
but the environment's pretty. I mean,
oh
the
god,
scenery is pretty.
gorgeous,
Yeah,
gorgeous game, and there's so much more that I still haven't done. Like, I understand that I can go fishing, and I haven't gone
yeah.
fishing.
Fishing
Um,
pole. So I don't even know how to fish yet. If Last Life knows how to fish, that would be. I have no clue how to do that.
well, he's actually saying right now that he's watching people on YouTube that are like dissecting and finding all these secrets in the game.
Oh,
But
really?
I kind of like, I'm on Reddit a fair amount,
Hmm.
and I see people posting stuff about Red Dead, and unfortunately, like, even the little things that they're discovering, I kind of want to get for
Sure.
myself, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's just like the surprises and the things that you wander across in the Grand Theft games. I mean, you just sometimes you'll wander across something on your own, and it's interesting when you see it, and so it's and kind of fun to find it on your own as well.
yeah, I found. I'm not going to say specifically what I found, but there's a collectible in the game that I was not expecting, and I just kind of stumbled across it in the middle of this wide open area.
Is it Super
So
Mario? Was it
uh,
Super Mario?
it's Waluigi, because I understand that
Luigi?
they haven't put him in anything, so
So they
Rockstar
put him
felt
in Red Dead.
bad. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to find Waluigi too. All I found was a rabbit.
But man, I can almost play the game around my kids as long as I steer clear of certain activities,
Yeah,
like the skinning activities. I'm
yeah.
sure they wouldn't
The
appreciate
language
that.
isn't terrible. I mean, it's not like playing a Grand Theft game at
No,
all.
no.
Um,
One thing I love about the way Dutch talks is how, when you're about to do some business, he always refers to people as Mr. Marston.
yes, by
I
the last
I
name.
I think that it's like a classy, like, old school style outlaw.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
treats them
It,
with respect. They're his brothers. Like, it just gives me a great feeling that even though they're about to do some bad stuff,
yeah.
I love it. I think it's great.
As small amount of language there is in this game, uh, a game like Tomb Raider is the complete opposite. It blows my mind how much they drop the F bomb in that game. Uh,
Really?
oh yeah, that game is very much a M rated game in so many ways.
See, this goes back to, I really liked the first Tomb Raider reboot. I really liked the second Tomb Raider reboot, but I felt like that aspect of things, they could be gritty without necessarily needing the absolute
Yeah.
absolute violence, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of this game.
Yeah.
And they rushed this game. I mean, it's obvious they were trying to get it to market. I'm glad I played it. I enjoyed it. I don't think I would buy any of the DLC to play though.
Yeah.
I think I'll buy DLC for other games, but probably not that one. I would for, I'm going to keep playing Red Dead. I'm going to try to get to the end. There are other games coming out. I'm not sure. I played the beta for Fallout. It freaked me out because it was so big and so much to do, and they didn't tell me what to do, and I gave up after about an hour. But I'm still going to play that at some point too. But
we're actually so we're over an hour now. But last time you talked to me, you mentioned that you wanted to say something about Project Stream.
Yeah,
did you actually try that?
Yes, I did, and it's so. You and I both have beta codes for Project Stream, and I'm sure if anybody who listens to our show, I think anybody could get a beta code. I'm pretty sure it's open. But what blows my mind about it, so Project Stream is Google's answer to streaming video games. It's the same thing that Microsoft is going to be trying to do. It's the same thing that PS4 does when it allows you to stream your games from a console. But with Project Stream, you're streaming the game from servers at Google. So the game they allow you to stream is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And they allow you to basically play that whole game between now and I think it's like January 19th for free. They're giving you the game to stream and play. So
and you do it all through a browser, right? With a controller hooked up?
All you do, you could use a controller. When I played it, I was using the keyboard, which works, but I would much rather use a controller. But it is the game. It is the full game. So you are basically getting the game, and they're wanting you to play it as much as you can to try it out on a PC. I mean, if everybody can have great Wi-Fi speeds, or it doesn't have to be Wi-Fi, just internet speeds, then it's pretty amazing when it works. Now, I was still having the same kind of issues I've had sometimes when I've played a PS4 game streaming from work, streaming from my PS4 at home, where once in a while everything will get a little pixelated. Once in a while, nothing ever slows down. But
they do the Netflix drop quality for a few seconds.
It's exactly like that. Yeah. So if they can figure that out, then they've got something. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. I was still able to play the game, and it was still fun. And I only played maybe an hour and a half, but it was impressive.
It was the game, and you were playing it in your browser.
Yeah. I was playing a triple A game in my browser that looked every bit as good as it would if I were playing on my 4K television at home, because I was playing on my Mac 4K monitor. So
I don't have to buy a new computer, Todd. Why?
You don't have to. All you need is a really good monitor. You don't need a great computer to play that game. You just need a good connection and a great monitor. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You don't need to buy an insane video card with something like that.
I have a Chromebook. I should try it on my Chromebook. You should
try it on your. Does it have a good screen?
No.
Oh, well then don't do that. Or hook it. Does it have an HDMI out?
It does. It does have an HDMI out.
HDMI TV. And play it that way. I'm telling that, but there is potential there. So if you're listening to us babble on and on, you should see if you can still get into the beta, because it would be worth your while. If for no other reason, you get to play a AAA game probably all the way through to the end. If you
can you link it to your Uplay account?
You have to. Yes, it's part of that.
Well, there you go. Then you get credits for it too.
Yeah, you have to link it, and they give you money. They give you like 10,000. Like it ends up being like $10 worth of, so that you can buy stuff too.
Oh, I thought you were going to say real money.
Ubi money, Ubi bucks.
Ubi bucks.
Give you some Ubi bucks and go crazy with them. or
Oh,
UB
Last
Plus.
Life wants to know how you get a code. I think it's just you just do just Google search Project Stream, and I think
Yes,
you can
yes,
probably sign
yeah.
up for one.
I think there's still options out there for codes as well. So
Yeah,
it's worth trying Last Life. I mean, I think you would enjoy it, or you would enjoy seeing if it works. And you may think, man, this is not that great, but it's the game. It's the entire game. So,
that's right. So so other than Red Dead, what's next on your plate? Anything?
um, well, of course, I'll play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on my Xbox when I finally get the chance. I will probably end up getting um, uh, Call of Duty uh, at some point.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, I will buy Diablo for the third time on my Switch.
I'm I'm kind of contemplating the same thing. I mean,
I love the game. It's getting good reviews. Everything I've read says this is a great game for the Switch. I have played through that game twice. I'm willing to try to play through it one more time.
the PlayStation 4 version was really good.
It was, and so was the Xbox version. The only reason I bought the Xbox version is because I found it on sale for like $15 somewhere, and it allowed Cameron and I to play on the same console, and we could have on the PS4 too. But for some reason, there was a reason why I bought it. But it looks like I may do it one more time.
I played a lot of it on the PC and I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
one of my
After they fixed all the things that
yeah
people didn't like the real money auction house thing and all that.
yeah
When they started introducing the seasons is kind of when I picked it up, and that's a solid game. It's a lot of fun.
yep. So I will end up picking that one up. The only other things that are coming out before the end of the year, other than Fallout, is Darksiders 3, which I may hold off on. This Darksiders sounds like it's more like a Dark Souls type of game. Just
Really?
the things I've started to read say that it's more of a slower paced game rather than the fast action paced game of Darksiders 1 and 2. But I love both those games and finished both, so I probably will get it at some point. And then the third version of oh,
Smash? Smash?
we'll get Smash. I will get Smash as well because Cameron is excited about that one, and that's one that we can kind of play together. I'm terrible at it, but I'm still going to get it.
Yeah.
Because I watched the last Nintendo Direct for Smash today, and I mean, this game looks legit. There's a lot going on there. And then, I can't remember the other one. The guy, the character that lassos everything and flies on the top of planes. It's an open world game.
Oh, Just Cause.
Just Cause 4?
Yep.
4 comes out in December. I've played all of them. I've never finished a Just Cause game. So I don't know. I'm going to hold off for a while, probably. I'm not going to get it in December like I've done in the past.
Oh, one question here. Mike Salvino is asking if you have any interest in Battlefield 5.
I played Battlefield 1 and enjoyed it, but it is the kind of multiplayer game that if you don't get really invested in that game, and I've never had I don't think I've ever given it the time it needs to the investment that I need in order to really enjoy it, because I feel like you have to know the mechanics pretty well. It's very team based, and it would be a lot of fun if I had 2 or 3 friends I was playing with. But I've always felt like I was just running around doing some shooting and trying to hop in a plane, but no, somebody else got the plane before I did. And so then I'll get in this tank and I'll ride around this tank. Why is this guy driving away from the battle? He should be driving towards it. So I just get discouraged. But the games are great. I get why people like them. I think I would like it more with friends. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get it. I bought the last one. I bought Battlefield, and I bought last year. I bought Star Wars Battlefront. So, but I don't know. At some point, I probably will end up getting it, but not right out of the gate.
Yeah, I'm still worried about like straight up all multiplayer games, right? Because the reliance on other people, I can't we've talked about this before. I can't usually devote it unless I schedule a specific time, and usually it's once a week. So I can't put in the time, like you were just saying, to get good at that game specifically.
So are Mike and Last Life still listening?
Yeah, they're still on.
What are they looking forward to?
They're not saying right now, but we can leave that question open, guys. What are you looking forward to? Last Life says he's got to check out the campaign on let's see, Battlefield 5, because he's the first female lead character in a Battlefield game. Oh,
okay.
I didn't realize that.
What did he say?
I didn't realize that. First female character.
Oh, cool. Okay, I didn't realize that either. Well, that makes me more interested.
So to be honest, I didn't realize Battlefield 5 had a single player campaign.
Well, I'm not sure I did either, but that makes me more interested because Call of Duty doesn't, Black Ops doesn't. So
yeah, but I guess Call of Duty has some sort of cool single player like content.
And what I've read and what I've heard is that it's any of those other games that they're trying to prepare you for the multiplayer. So so it's more like a tutorial.
Gotcha. All right. So Mike is interested in both Battlefield 5, and I guess he hasn't played Red Dead 2 yet, but he's going for that. And Last Life, Red Dead, still digging Red Dead. Everybody loves Red Dead.
I do too. I know I sound
Todd, you obviously don't like it. I mean, that's okay.
I know I sound like I was down on it. It's just you have to get in the right mindset. It's slower paced than other open world games that I've played in the last probably 3 years.
And I think I am completely cool with that. I think what's great for me about Red Dead is that it's what I expected it to be. Like it's got a great story. It looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
Environment is part of what makes that game what it is.
I finished the first one. I finished I finished all the DLC. I finished the zombie stuff. I love the game. So I feel the same way about this one.
And you always know that something weird could potentially happen.
Oh, and it already has in my first probably 5 to 10 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, it's. I could tell you another story.
You want to finish us off with one more story?
We'll quick end with one more story. Yes. And so again, I'm in the first town, Valentine. I'm walking through. My horse. The camera gets a little close behind to your horse sometimes, and so I'm like, all right, I got to go over and make a sharp right. So I turn my horse sharp right, and there was a guy right next to my horse that I didn't see. Sure enough, his leg is broken. Everybody's angry at me.
So the horse broke the guy's leg?
I was jumping off my horse at the same time. Yeah, the horse, like to the point where I jumped on my horse while his leg was being broken by the horse. And then I see him like holding his leg and doing the leg drag thing away. He's cursing at me for being a terrible person, because I am.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then everybody's all upset. So I do the thing again. I jump on the horse and I hightail it out of town. And this was Walter. He was good in this particular case. Yeah. But to the point where I lost the law at that point, and I was able to go back and pay off my $10 bounty.
That sucks. I paid $25 when I got one.
Yeah. Well, it starts off low.
Okay.
And this was only, an assault charge, basically.
Oh, okay. I killed a man, so I get it.
Oh, Mike says he's bought and downloaded Red Dead 2 and Forza, but hasn't had any time to play it yet. Forza is one of the games that I really want to play.
I have played it. I have been playing it a little bit. And the only reason I'm playing it is because back in the summer, the Xbox Live or Xbox Pass was $30 instead of $60 for 6 months. No, it was less than that. It was $34. Anyway, I have it through December.
Yep.
And I did it because I knew I wanted to play that game. And it's been great. And it's a good way to try out that game. I feel like I got to play the game for $30 along with all the other games I downloaded. It's pretty amazing.
My issue with Forza Horizon 4 is that they've already discontinued support for, I think, 2 Forza. And I didn't buy the third game. I bought the second, I haven't purchased the third, and I was planning on getting the fourth. But if they already killed off support for the second one, and that was one of the reasons why I bought an Xbox One in the first place, because I really enjoyed the first Horizon game. I'm concerned about the longevity, because I don't generally I don't jump into games right when they come out anymore. I just don't. So if I buy it and then they kill support, I don't know.
Well, and this one, if they kill support, they basically slow down the progression of what you can do in the game, because it is constantly changing. They are adding things to the game every day. The seasons change based on the game as well. And I've been through. I think they're in fall now, or they're just getting ready to go to winter. And it's a big deal when the seasons change.
So that's actually controlled by some sort of cloud infrastructure.
Yeah. It's changing for everyone, because when a season changes, it changes the different things you can do in the game itself and the different challenges you have and missions.
Man, that sounds real cool.
It's really cool. So fall was really neat, because there are places that you can go and races you can do that are through the woods, and you see the leaves changing, and there's a lot more rain that takes place in the fall season. And then when they get to winter, there are lakes that you always have had to drive around that suddenly become places to race.
Oh man.
So, because they're frozen. So and the other thing that blows my mind about Forza Horizon, and it always has, is it knows my name. And it says, "Way to go, Todd. You have done a great job today racing, Todd." And I'm like, how? When did I? So that's pretty cool.
Don't try to convince me. I'm gonna pretend to be a cowboy for as long as possible.
Just get the Xbox Game Pass.
But I'm playing Red Dead.
Well, then wait till you're done. Buy the Game Pass for 3 months, and then you can play Forza. It's going to be cheaper than if you had to buy the entire game at $60.
True.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right. Well, we went long today, Todd, but it's been a while, so it felt like it was appropriate. I'm tired.
Me too, but I appreciate Last Life and Mike listening in. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. We always enjoy some little interaction with y'all folks that join the chat. And hey, a couple weeks it's going to be almost Thanksgiving, so maybe we can do a pre-Thanksgiving show.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that we're going to have more wacky hijinks happening in Red Dead that we can talk about.
We'll have that. I'll be able to talk about Diablo a little bit. Do you know that I bought? I don't think people realized that Xbox came out with a new Elite controller. Everybody wanted them to. It's all they did was they changed the color, so it's a white Elite controller.
Oh, I think I saw a picture of it. It looked pretty nice.
I was going to do an unboxing, but you kept putting me off, so unboxed it without you.
Oh, so it's basically like you're gonna if you would do it, you just hold up the.
Yeah, I just hold the controller up, but I'm more careful with that one because it's Elite, like you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Hey, here,
I'm touched.
But we'll have other stuff. Yeah, we'll have some things to talk about. There's just a few more games that we'll be able to talk about too before the end of the year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you spending time with us, you guys too, Mike and Last Life, and we will catch you next time we do this show, hopefully.
Yeah.
And hopefully life doesn't keep getting in the way of my ability to do this.
A couple weeks, we're back on the air, whether you like it or not.
Okay, I'll be there.
All right.
I'll put it on the calendar right now and say, "Hey, wife, this is happening."
Yeah,
and you're going to listen to me.
This is real life.
Funny. Last little bit before we go. My oldest daughter, had a sleepover at my house. For whatever reason, they stumbled upon this channel,
and they got to watch you and I.
Specifically, they when I did the tape. Tattoos that I put on, they thought that was real funny, and they also thought was funny was when I was reading the Everybody Poops book.
Dad jokes.
So they watched it. They literally watched that clip over and over and laughed and laughed.
Way to go! You made the party.
And of course, my son, he's like, "Dad, how do you get a YouTube channel?" I was like,
Here it comes. It's gonna happen.
You're 7. You're not getting a YouTube channel.
Yeah, you gotta wait.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Talking to you. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time.
See ya.